Good morning, everybody. The good morning train is coming. How are you? Choo, choo. The good morning train is coming. How are you? Choo, choo. The good morning train is coming. The good morning train is coming. The good morning train is coming. How are you? Choo, choo. And we'll say hello to Isla. How are you? Choo, choo. And we'll say hello to Layla. How are you? Choo, choo. And we'll say hello to Zaina. And we'll say hello to Isra. And we'll say hello to Mohammed and Hamoudi. How are you? Choo, choo. And we'll say hello to everybody out there in Childrenland. And we'll say hello to everybody. How are you? Choo, choo. And we'll say hello to Vicki. And we'll say hello to Paddington. And we'll say hello to Grandma. How are you? Choo, choo. Good morning. Hey, hey, it's story time. Hey, hey, it's story time. Hey, hey, it's story time. Let's all find a spot. Bottom's on the chair now, right now. Bottom's on the chair right now. Bottom's on your chair right now. Let's all find your spot. Hey, hey, circle time. Hey, hey, story time. Hey, hey, story time. Let's all find a spot. Tap your head now, 1, 2. Tap your head now, 1, 2. Tap your head now, 1, 2. Let's all find a spot. Wiggle your ears, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle your ears, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle your ears, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Let's all find a spot. Now it's time to shh. Now it's time to shh. Now it's time to shh. It's story time. My friends, I have a really nice story for you today. Once upon a time, there was a little boy, and he lived with his mother. Here's his mother. And one day, he became very tired of playing with his toys and tired of playing with his books and his puzzles. Oh, what shall I do, mother? He asked his mother. And his mother, who always knew fun things to do, said, well, why don't you go out and find a little red house with no doors and no windows and a little star inside? This really made the boy wonder. Usually his mother had very good ideas, but he thought this one was a little strange. "Oh, which way shall I go, mother?" And his mother said, I don't know where to find a little red house with no doors and no windows and a star inside. But why don't you go down the lane, past the farmer's house, and over the hill, said his mother, and then hurry on back and tell me all about your adventure. I'll be waiting to hear. So the little boy put on his little hat because it's autumn outside and it's kind of cold. So he put on his hat. And what else do you think he needs? He put on his jacket. Very good. He put on his jacket. And he started on down the lane. He's walking down the lane when he heard some singing. And along came a very merry little girl. And she was singing, and her cheeks were rosy pink, and she was laughing and singing down the lane. La 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 la. And the little boy went on and he said, do you know where I shall find a little red house with no windows and no doors and a star inside? And the little girl laughed. I've never heard of such a thing. But you know what? My father is a farmer and he may have heard of that. But I don't know. He's lived here a very long time. You could go and see him. And with that, she ran down the lane. So the little boy continued walking down the lane until he did meet and come in front of a big red barn. big red barn. And there was the farmer in front of his big red barn. So there was the farmer in front of his big red barn, and he had lots of barrels of potatoes and baskets of yellow squash and golden pumpkins. And he stood in the doorway, looking out over his green pastures and yellow cornfields. Look at that. Green pastures and yellow cornfields. So, do you know, the little boy said to the farmer, where I shall find a little red house with no windows and no doors and a star inside? And the farmer laughed. Ho, 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 I don't think so. I've lived a great many years and I've never saw one. He chuckled. But ask Granny who lives down at the foot of the hill. She knows how to make homemade cookies, taffy, and popcorn balls, and red mittens. Perhaps she can tell you. Oh, okay. And with that, the little boy left, went down to see the grandma at the foot of the hill. First, he came to a house, a beautiful little yellow roofed house. And in front of the house sat Granny. And what was Granny doing? She was knitting some red mittens. So the little boy went further until he came to Granny sitting in her rocker on her front porch. She had lots of wrinkles and a big sweet smile on her face. Please, dear Granny, said the little boy, where shall I find a little red house with no windows and no doors and a little star inside? Well, the granny was knitting a red mitten when she heard the little boy's question. She laughed so cheerily that the wool ball rolled out of her lap and down onto the little stone path. I should like to find a house like that myself. It would be warm when the frosty wet night comes, and the starlight would be much prettier than a candle. But ask the wind who blows about so much and listens at all the chimneys. Perhaps the wind can help you. So the little boy took off his cap politely, and he went on up the hill rather sadly. Hi, Grandma. Rather sadly. He wondered if his mother, who was usually knew almost everything, had perhaps made a mistake. The wind was coming down the hill as the little boy was coming up. Whoosh! Here comes the wind as the little boy was coming up. Whoosh! The wind was coming down. As they met, the wind turned about, whoosh, and went along, and it whistled in his ear, singing beside him, whoosh, and pushed him along, and dropped a pretty leaf in his hands. Whoosh, beautiful pretty leaf in his hands. Look at that. All the colors of autumn. Oh, I wonder, thought that little boy, after they'd gone along together for a while, if the wind could help him find a little red house with no doors and no windows and a star inside. The wind cannot speak in our words, but it went singing ahead of him, whoosh, of little boy until it came to an apple tree orchard. We call it an orchard with all the apples. And boy let go of the leaf. The wind came to an apple orchard. There it climbed in the apple tree and shook the branches. Oh my. When the little boy caught up, there at his feet lay a big red apple. Oh wow, right at his feet. Here we go. Give it to the boy, and he picked it up, and he carried it. There we go. And the little boy picked up the apple. It was as much as his two hands could hold, and it was as red as the sun had been able to paint it. And it had no doors and no windows. Was there a star inside? I don't know. The little boy called to the wind, "Thank you, wind." And the wind whistled back, "You're welcome." Shh. The little boy hurried back down the lane with the big red apple in his hand. When he reached his little house, the boy gave the apple to his mother. "Look, mother, look." And his mother said, "You found a house with no doors and no window, but where's the star?" And his mother took a knife. Let's see. Vicki has a knife. And can you see a red apple anywhere? Right there. Yes, there's a red apple with no doors and no windows. Is there a star inside? Let's see. Vicki's going to cut it open and we'll see. We have to cut it this way. Right? So, it is there a star inside? Oh, how wonderful! There inside the apple lay a star holding 5 seeds. Look at that. 5 seeds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's too wonderful to eat without looking at the star, isn't it? The little boy said to his mother. Yes, indeed, answered his mother. Back up, and there it is, a little red house with no windows and no doors, but there's the beautiful star inside holding 5 apple seeds. And that's the end of the story, my friends. The little red house with no windows and no doors and a star inside. I hope you have a great day, everybody. Goodbye for now.